Yo, 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 what is going on? What's going on, good people? This is your boy C Will back to you with another video. We got some good stuff that we're going to be talking about tonight. Yeah, I can't wait, man. How's y'all week? You know, how y'all been doing? I told you we were starting something new for 2020 every Thursday, 9 p.m. I'm going to be rocking with y'all, man. And so, yeah. You know, yeah, definitely looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to, you know, just hanging out with y'all. But tonight, and as you can see up on the screen, we're going to be talking about, well, we're going to be unboxing. So if you caught my last live stream on this past Saturday, we're going to be unboxing the Cooler Master NR200P, which is the small form factor case. So we're going to unbox that tonight. That's going to be the next build on the channel. And then we're going to be talking about Dying Light 2, PC requirements, PC specs. We got Elden Ring that's going to be coming out this month. And also going to throw in some other stuff right after that. But then we'll be talking about two more cases that has been announced just this month, in the past week. The NZXT H1 version 2. So if you caught one of my videos, I actually did a build. So I got a couple of videos about the NZXT H1 small form factor case. One of those videos is somewhere on my channel. So I did two. So I actually did a build in one of them. So you could check my builds playlist. I forgot when I did. Here we go. All right, so I did a build in it using the 10600K rod Strix. I actually did this build for my wife. And so, but then obviously a lot of people don't know they actually had an issue. And so I did a video on that talking about, you know, that case running into some manufacturing issues. And I did that video, man, right here. So yeah, they had a little small issue. They had a little fire hazard, but you know, it is what it is when it comes to that, right? So check out those videos when you get a chance. But they brought out a version 2 of that case, so that's going to be pretty dope, pretty cool to check out. And then we'll also be talking about the, you know, Fractal design has come out. First of all, they came out with the Torrent case, which is phenomenal. Still trying to get my hands on one of those, but they just announced two more cases. They had the Torrent Nano case and they also had the Torrent Compact. So we'll be checking out both of those today as well. So yeah, if this is your first time here, welcome. Here we do everything tech, all things tech, whatever it is, we like to do it. But if you're a returning viewer, I appreciate y'all the most because you keep everything going. So without further ado, make sure that if you ever want to support the channel, hit the links in the description below. I have Amazon links to different products and my bills and all that different type of stuff that's in the description. But also definitely make sure that you check out the merch. So we got some new merch and stuff like that. We got pullovers, backpacks, mugs, you know, face masks, t-shirts, phone cases, iPod cases, socks. We got sweatshirts, hats, you know, definitely check it out. Now this is like my initial merch, but obviously what you're seeing on the screen here is better than even what I got on. So definitely, if you want to support the channel, there's different ways that you can be able to do that, but definitely the link is in the description below. And I'll also place this link in the chat if you want to check it out, to help a brother out. So obviously we got some goals and stuff like that that's coming up. Specifically, we're doing more builds on the channel, giveaways, reviews. I need to get some more graphics cards, stuff like that, benchmarks and all that stuff. And so, yeah, if you want to support the channel, definitely check it out. So first thing that we got coming up is Dying Light 2 in system requirements. Now, I know this game just came out last week, and I've been teetering on whether or not I want to be able to, you know, buy this game and check it out. I may buy it, you know, in the next couple of days. I'm still trying to, I'm actually kind of waiting for them to kind of work out some of the kinks in the game. You could buy it on Xbox, PlayStation, or PC. And now for me, I'm a PC gamer first first, first off, and then PS5, then Xbox. But I really don't play the Xbox too much because most of the games I can be able to access on Game Pass through PC. So you kind of see how that goes, right? But if we was taking a look at these system requirements, I'm actually, I was going to make a separate video on this because sometimes I like to make videos of can your PC run it, right? And obviously in this particular case, if you're, I'm going to start off on a high end first and then work my way down because I'm looking at some of these specs. And if you want to do 4K 60, man, it's, you need some hardware. So obviously 4K 60 with high ray tracing on, that's RT is ray tracing. Now from a CPU standpoint, obviously when you're more GPU limited, when it comes to this, so CPU really doesn't matter all that much, but they're saying that you can still rock it into an i5 8600K, which I believe is a 6-core chip. And then, or AMD Ryzen 7 3700X, right? And so I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. That's an 8-core chip. And then, but for GPU, and here's the kicker, you're gonna need an RTX 3080. And you have to run this with DLSS. So one of the things I like about this chart is that it's telling you, hey, in order to get 4K 60, you're even with a 3080, you're actually going to have to turn on DLSS to be able to do it. So Windows 10, 16 gigabytes of RAM, all this stuff is normal. They're also saying that, for storage, pretty much across the board is 60 gigabytes you need it for SSD. And I've seen gameplay videos, I've seen all type of stuff. And really, all honesty, you definitely need to, one, switch over to SSD. Just go ahead and make that move if you haven't done that already. Two, if you were very lucky to be able to get a 3080, go for it. But you definitely got to make sure that you turn on DLSS. Now, ray tracing on high and still getting, but this is at 1080p, 60 frames per second. And it's weird because they didn't put 1440p resolution in here. I would have added that in, but the stakes are still high when it comes to, what type of GPU that you need, because they're still saying that the CPUs hasn't changed that much or hasn't changed at all from what you need with 4K, but everything else is the same except for GPU. You need at least a 3060 Ti. And from my understanding, the 3060 Ti 3070 is kind of like the equivalent to like a 2080 Ti. And so, yeah, there's still beefy hardware that you need to be able to even run ray tracing high at 1080p, 60 frames per second. So it's very interesting the way that they have this set up. And so Dying Light 2, I've heard, and from what I've seen, is definitely one of the best new titles that's out right now that from a PC standpoint uses really, really, really good ray tracing across the board. I think global illumination and all type of stuff, it's like it just looks phenomenal. So definitely want to be able to benchmark this game and test it out. So probably have that coming up, within the next couple of days. And then moving on down the road, ray tracing on minimum requirements to get 1080p, 60 frames per second. And that's just with ray tracing on, not at high, but just on. Intel i5 8600K, still the same. But they're saying now you could be able to run a Ryzen 5 3600X. So they're saying that, which is a 6-core chip. You don't need an 8-core. But then, hey, you could be able to do it with a 2070, RTX 2070, but you still need to have DLSS on. So, that, that kind of makes sense, when you get to this road here. But that's a big leap, though, to go from a RTX 2070 to a 3060 Ti, still with DLSS on, but that's a big difference between GPUs. One 1080p 60, 1080p 60, ray tracing, just having ray tracing on, and then you have ray tracing on high. You need that big of a jump in GPU. So it's very interesting, but like I said, 3060 Ti is like the equivalent to a 2080 Ti. So, but a 2080 Ti was definitely way, from a performance standpoint, was way better than the 2070. So it's just funny how they pick and chose, you know, like the hit, you know, that comes with ray tracing is crazy. So just to be able to play the game at 1080p, 60 frames per second, you're still rocking 8600K, 3600X, and GeForce RTX 2060. And a 2060, I believe, is like a 6 gigabyte card, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think that's 8 gigabytes. I know the Super was 8 gigabytes, which I had the Super before. But I think the 2060 was 6 gigabytes. So, and then RX Vega 56, which is 8 gigabytes, you know, so it gave you some AMD options when you get down this way. So it's very interesting. They didn't even say anything about, well, I know why, because everything with this title is about ray tracing. So if you look at this, everything from here on is about ray tracing. And obviously AMD, you know, the new AMD cards can do ray tracing, but it's not playable per se. So I see why they didn't add that in, but you know, it's neither here nor there. And then just the minimal specs, just to be able to play at 1080p, 30 frames per second low. You need an i3 9100, which I think is a 4-core chip. And you need a Ryzen 3 2300X, which I have never used that before. Well, that's 1050 Ti, you know, that's kind of like your entry level, super entry level into gaming. But that's just to play at 1080p, 30 frames per second. Now, if you was coming from consoles, that's cool, but 30 frames per second for PC is not cool. So, and they're saying you only need 8 gigabytes. So yeah, I don't know about that. You know, if anything, from gaming, you definitely want to be here, at least 1080p, 60 frames per second when you're gaming, and then work your way up, you know, whatever hardware and stuff that you could be able to get on. So that's Dying Light 2. So let me know down in the chat, or if you're watching this as a VOD, a video on demand after the fact, let me know down in the description below if you tried Dying Light 2 out already. How do you like it? You know, what type of hardware and stuff are you running? Just let me know, and definitely we'll be able to talk about that more at a different time. Moving on. So one of the most anticipated games of the year is Elden Ring, along with another game that's going to be coming out this month, which is, you know, Horizon Forbidden West. Talked about that in the last live stream, so that's going to be coming out next week, next Friday to be exact, on the 18th. But Elden Ring actually comes out on February 24th, and I've been waiting to see what the PC requirements are going to be for this, because this game looks phenomenal. I saw some of the gameplay, and this is definitely going to be one of those games where you want to make sure that you are rocking this, you know, on PC. I was just gonna tell you, you definitely want to make sure you rock this on PC, because, whoo boy, this is gonna be one of those games where it's, you know, if you like, you know, Demon Souls or Dark Souls games and stuff like this, I believe this is definitely going to take things to a whole nother level, especially with something like as far as what they're going to be using with travel and stuff like that, with horseback. And you know, if you ever play games like Sekiro, or if you play games like Ghost of Tsushima, where they ride on the horses, I think this game is going to be awesome. And just the bosses, the actual open world, it's going to be phenomenal. So definitely make sure that you keep this one in your back pocket, because it's going to be coming out real soon. And so yeah, you could be able to get this on Steam. It's going to be coming out. But if you don't game on PC, then, you know, you could definitely be able to check this out on PlayStation 5, Xbox, all that good stuff. So that is Elden Ring. Moving on. All right, so we got the NZXT H1. Like I said, I'll put links in the description below at a later time if you want to be able to check out the build that I did in the original H1. But that had issues, you know, and it was really with the actual, you know, the riser card that was in it. So for some units, they had to recall it. It was catching fire and all this different type of stuff. So now they've made changes to the H1, and, you know, since this is the second iteration of it, you know, a lot of times people are seeing V2 and all the different types of stuff, but they really should have changed this to like H2, maybe. You know, it would have made sense for them to say, okay, hey, H2. This should have definitely been H2. So, but they made it H1. And what's cool about, if you're not familiar with H1 at all, This particular one is going to be $399, and I can't remember if the original one was $399, but they come in black and white. I think when I bought the original, I think I had gotten mine for like it was like three something from Micro Center. But this new one, the great thing about this particular case is that you get the case. It comes with the all-in-one liquid cooler, which is, I think it's like I think it's 140 millimeter fan AIO. It comes with the power supply and everything. And so in this particular one, though, with the new one, like the old one originally came with a 650 watt power supply, but we all know that GPUs are definitely getting up to the point where, you have to have better power, right? So now it comes pre-installed with 750 watts. It comes pre-installed with a fan controller, and they actually added a 92 millimeter fan for exhaust, which the first one didn't have. And it comes with a fourth generation Ryzen card. And from what I've seen, they actually done it right this time with the PCB and all this stuff. So no fire hazard. So I definitely want to be able to check this case out for myself. Pre-routed cables, something else that I've seen. Actually on the top, it has like the power button. The original one came with one USB-A port, and then the USB-C, and then the actual microphone jack. But this one actually has two USB-A ports, so that is definitely pretty cool. And then it talks about building with the best. So it gives you the actual some of the requirements when it comes to the length of the GPU. So another thing I heard is that they actually made this case bigger, which is awesome because, obviously some of these, you've got triple slot GPUs, 3-fan GPUs and stuff like that. And you had a lot of GPUs that just wouldn't fit in the original one, but in the new one, they've upped it up. So now you're at 324 millimeters in length. And so let's just do a quick conversion real quick. So 324 millimeters to inches, and let's see how long that is. So that's 12.75 inches. So the GPU that I have is the Asus 3080 Ti Strix, and let's just see, I forgot how long this GPU is, so let's go to tech power up, and let's just see how long this GPU is. So I'm already in there. So where is it? It usually tells me in here. Okay, here we go. Length. So even a Strix, so 319 millimeters. So that if I go back here, 324, we're good. So this, you could be able to fit in 3090s if you have them and all that good stuff into this case, and it'll fit. So that's going to be awesome. And so, yeah, I'm definitely, let me know what you think down in the comments below. I'm really into doing small form factor builds right now. I got a couple more cases that we're going to check out. And then obviously, after we get through some of this stuff, we're actually going to unbox the Cooler Master NR200P, which is the small form factor case. That's the next build that we're going to be doing on the channel. So we're going to unbox that on the live stream tonight. So definitely stay tuned for that. But if we take a look here, yeah, $399. But again, I know it's like, man, that's expensive just for a case, but you got to remember, it's a CPU cooler, 140 millimeter AIO. You have the power supply, which is 750 watts. That's 80 plus gold. You have an exhaust fan, and then you have a Gen 4 riser card, and those riser cards are still expensive. Like the ones I've seen, just in general, that's like an extra 50, 60 bucks. So for what you're getting in the actual case is actually pretty cool. It's pretty dope, even for $399, because that means that the only other things that you need to buy is the graphics card, ITX, motherboard, and RAM, and a CPU. So you got to get 4 things, right? And we all know that parts and stuff are expensive. Well, for the most part, it's really just the GPU that's expensive. But even with the CPU, the price has been fluctuating. So just something to think about. All right. Moving on. Now we can get into the actual Fractal, and it is hot in here. I don't know why it's so hot. One moment. All right, had to turn the air on because it was getting a little hot in here. You know, I got this pullover on, and hey. But the Fractal design Torrent Nano. And so this was just announced. And if you know anything about the new Torrent cases that Fractal Design has brought out, man, let me tell you, for one, these cases look phenomenal. And the Nano is a small form factor case, and I can't wait to get my hands on this because this case, first of all, with the front panel, you know, saying all the air could be able to come through, even on the top. Just looking at this, you got so you got separate ports. So you got two USB-A 3.0 ports, power button, you got a Type-C, and then you have a reset button. You have separate jacks for headphones and also for mic. So that's pretty dope. Looking at this from the side, looks like you could be able to fit an exhaust fan in the back. Don't know if you're going to be able to get in the fans here at the bottom. You know, hopefully that's something we could be able to take a look at, but you have a huge 180 millimeter fan for intake on the front, which is crazy. You got rubber grommets. Up here is actually where the power supply goes on these cases, and so that's pretty dope. And if we were taking a look at this broken apart, you know, it's pretty cool. So yeah, and it looks like a lot of these cases, you know, even this 180 millimeter fan, it comes with RGB, so that's something to think about as well. And yeah, I'm digging this. And it can even take a 3-slot GPU. So if you go back here, it talks about it right here. Open grill, space optimized, yet still capable of handling a 3-slot, 335 millimeter long GPU. So, hey, 3090 Strix cards, Gigabyte cards, and all that good stuff. You could be able to check it out. So we got the RGB version. You could do just the actual black and gray. They have a white version, which actually looks pretty dope, which actually, that looks really good. So it's definitely going to be sky's the limit when it comes to these small form factor builds, but I want to do a few on this channel just to check out these cases. But the original huge Torrent, I believe, honestly believe, was probably one of the best airflow cases out there. So let me know down in the chat what you think about that. You know, if you are into small form factor builds, if you want to be able to see that on the channel, because I know I'm going to do them, so hope you like them. But definitely let me know what's going to be like your next build and stuff like that that you're going to be doing, because this is going to be like super dope. And I like the white, so that's going to be nice. And then you have they even have them where, you know, no tempered glass. And so doesn't work for me, but you know, it may work for some people, but you could be able to get it with a solid panel. And so, yeah, that's the Nano. Then they have a compact. Now, for me, I think the compact is actually just a regular size mid-tower case because the original one that they have is like huge. It's bigger than the O11 Dynamic that I have. And I was like, man, I thought about getting one, but then one of my buddies was like, hey, you might not even be able to put that on your desk. And I was like, you are right, because I measured it and I was like, I have a huge desk, but with the monitor arms, and I got 3 monitors that's on monitor arms and all the different type of stuff, it wasn't gonna work. But this compact case, I think this may work out because we're still doing the 180 millimeter fans in the front. And I believe we may be able to, well, this one doesn't come with any fans at the bottom. So like in the bigger case, it has actually 340 millimeter fans across the bottom. So that just lets you know how big the actual case is, along with the 280 millimeter fans on the front. But I think we do have space down at the bottom to be able to put probably some 120 millimeter fans that you could be able to use to cool off the GPU. So I think that would be dope. We got some action in the chat. You think with the minimum cooling AIO mounting options, could you build with a 12900K with that? Man, and I really want a 12900K. We was talking about that in the last live stream, and I don't know. Because with the 12900K, you need some, I'm thinking at least 280 millimeter AIO for the cooling. Some people say 360, but you could probably get away with a 280 millimeter and not overclock the chip. So yeah, as long as you could be able to get like in this compact case, probably not in the Nano, because I don't think you'll be able to fit that down at the bottom of the Nano. But in the compact case, that's the Nano. Because I don't think you would actually have room with the GPU and stuff down there at the bottom. But in the compact case, I could see being able to put, radiator down here if you want to keep the 180 millimeter fans on the front for airflow. And so you could probably be able to put that down at the bottom, but then that's not good for your AIO. And so, which means that for fan intake, that may not work with a 12900K. And I know a lot of people were saying, hey, you could be able to get an air cooler and stuff like that for the 12900K. But I honestly believe the 12900K is just not built for an air cooler. You could probably get a Noctua in, what's that? The Noctua DH15. I'm probably saying that wrong, but it's the big air cooler. I don't know. You could probably do it for gaming, maybe, and be fine. But, everybody doesn't use their computer just for gaming. Sometimes people use their computer for video editing and doing some other stuff. And then, so now you run a risk of your CPU overheating, and then it's going to thermal throttle and all the different type of stuff. And so, yeah, you definitely, if a 12900K, you're going to need an AIO and at least probably 280 millimeter AIO to be able to cool that thing like you need to, which limits the actual cases that you could be able to get. So I always keep that in mind. But if you don't have any issue with running your CPU and you're just using it for gaming, yeah, you could use an air cooler with a 12900K. It'll definitely be something. It'll be interesting to be able to try out. So you actually, just gave me an idea. So I may try that out, just to be able to test it out in one of the ITX cases. So yeah, something I'm thinking about. But yeah, let me know down in the chat what you think. Again, if you're just jumping into the live stream right now, we talked about a few things, and I'll be able to put some timestamps and stuff after the actual live stream is over. But I tell you, looking at these new cases, stuff like that that's coming out, NZXT H1, I would not put a 12900K in here because 140 millimeter AIO is not enough for the cooling for that. The max I would go is the 12700K. If we was talking about the new Intel 12th gen chips. Now, when it comes to like AMD, those run at lower temps and lower wattages and stuff like that. So you could probably put a 5950X in here, you'll be fine, which is a 16 core chip. So something to think about, right? But I would not do a 12900K in this. Nano, I think with the Nano, you just limit it all the way around. So definitely air cooler for this. But I think this is like super dope. So I definitely want to be able to grab one of these, check it out once they release. I don't think they are going for sale just yet. because it says you can find a retailer and all that different type of stuff. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to those. So without further ado, I knew it was something that I was supposed to go grab real quick. So y'all give me 1 second. Let me go get my knife. Okay, and feel free to be able, you can ask me anything about bills and all the different type of stuff, anything in my previous videos. Now, one thing I will say that's going to be like super important when it comes to these small form factor cases, even the NZXT H1. So they added on this 92 millimeter exhaust fan because heat rises. So they put the fan up at the top, which is pretty cool. And if you're having a hard time seeing that, here's what it looks like. But even with this, you know, my undervolting video for GPU is going to play a major role in this, even with this, because if you're using like a 3080 Ti or a 3090, you're definitely going to find yourself in a situation where, like, I have an 850 watt power supply, and that's because those cards, they get to, especially aftermarket, 400 plus watts, you know, in some cases. And so, especially if you're running 4K. So 750 watts is really pushing it, you know, when it comes to that type of stuff. So, you know, if you undervote though, your GPU, then you could definitely be able to save on wattage. You could save on power, which same thing, wattage power. You could definitely be able to save on temps and all that different type of stuff. So look into undervolting because it'll definitely help that out a lot. And so you can still be able to get the power that you're looking for when it comes to performance, but also be, you know, but at a lower wattage, lower temp. So keep that in mind. So let's get started on unboxing. And I'm excited for this. As you can probably see, I'm gonna kind of move some stuff out the way. And I am going to move this up. All right, let me lower myself down here in the corner. And so as you can see, we got the NR200P master box. And this is, again, this is my first SFX case, and I'm looking forward to building in this case. First small form factor. I've had this for a while now and didn't even open it. And so I know, bad all the way around. So I'm excited. I watched like 1,000 videos on this thing, just checking it out, checking to see all the things that you could be able to do with it. And I heard that this is like one of the best small form factor cases before these other cases started to come out. And we're going to do a build in this real soon. And I'm going to use my 3080 Ti as a part of this, because a lot of times say, hey, if you're getting new stuff, Roy, hey, what's going on, man? All right, so see if I can be able to slide this out. Oh yeah, the Q58 by Lian Li. You know, see, I've been trying to stay away from the Lian Li cases, but they keep pulling me back towards. But the Q8, the Q58, the Lian Li Q58 that's a beautiful case. You know, Lian Li always done phenomenal jobs. Trying to, you know me, I'm trying to get stuff out without messing stuff up. I don't know why it's giving me such a hard time. All right, I know what I got to do. So that's the tempered glass. Struggling. Oh boy. All right, so let's take off. See, now, you know, I had been waiting to actually take this out the box because I didn't know which route I was going to go. As far as like the parts, I knew I was going to use my 3080 Ti Strix. But what I did not know was what were the other parts I was going to use in it. And see if I could. Think that's better. Okay. Man, I'm so glad I got black. Look at this. So we have, so here at the top, we got the power button. It's clicky. 2 USB-A ports. We have a reset button, and then you have your jack. And this could be a combo jack for speaker and mic. One of the things that I heard about this actual case is you can see the back. On the back, you got the power supply connector that goes here. Then obviously you have different areas where you could be able to mount the GPU. So you can actually do a vertical mount for the GPU. And as you can see those in the back here. And then, or you can do it the traditional way and have it horizontal. And so you have different options with this case, and that's what I love about it. And man, let me let's go. So we got the master box, and just, you know, I can't remember all these specs, so that's why we're on the website, right? All right, so going here, if we take a look at this here, it talks about there's different stuff that comes in the box. So one thing, you know, we're going to get the size and all the stuff taken off in a minute. But if, and I know you can't see my screen, but I may pull it up. If I could just figure this part out real quick. Nope. That's me. Okay, here we go. All right. So just taking a look at this, it talks about it comes with 220 millimeter sickle flow fans that actually go at the top for exhaust. And so that's cool. And then it talks about it as far as the actual compact structure, CPU cooler. So if you do an air cooler, the maximum height is 155 millimeters. And we're going to talk about that in a second as well. Then for radiators, it actually fits up to 280 millimeters for the radiator. It's 2 options that you could be able to do for the radiator. So one option, and let me turn this around to this side. So one option is to be able to, you can mount the radiator using the actual mesh panel. You can mount the radiator on the side, the 280 millimeter radiator. You can mount it on the side, or you could put it at the bottom. Now, the problem with putting it at the bottom is that the pump and the head is going to be up here at the top, which is not good, you know, because you get, it's going to mess up the life of the pump. So that's not good. So, which means that if you do it, you have to use the mesh panel to do the actual on the radiator, which is, you know, which is cool, you know what I'm saying? You could do that, but then there's a lot of stuff that goes into that. And I don't know if I want to even put an AIO in here, which I'm not. I don't plan on doing that. Maybe, you know, if we get a lot of traction and stuff like that and people want to see it, I may do that. But there's a lot that goes into that when you talk about a compact case. Plus, I want to be able to use the glass panel. That's why I bought this Model 4, so you could be able to see the insides of the actual case. Because with this mesh panel, you can't see anything. So, yeah. So I tell you what, let's take a look at the actual side panel first, and then I'll open up the case and we'll take a look at a couple of things. So again, let me know what you think down in the chat and in the comments below so far. And it even comes with the manual and stuff like that, which, you know, we don't read this until we run into issues. But with this new case, I never, you know, again, I never built inside of a small form factor case before, so I may be reading that actual manual a little bit more. All right, so again, it comes pre-installed with the actual mesh panel, but this actually has a glass panel, and as you can see, this is pretty dope. And yeah, we're gonna leave this in here, but that's the glass panel. Now, one of the things that I've heard, and one of the things I heard was that it says 155 millimeters as far as the height, you know, when it comes to this. But, you know, as you can talk about here, but I think for CPU coolers, it's only with the actual mesh panel. Because if you put the actual glass panel on, the height goes down. So there's, you know, we had to talk about that, you know, saying a little bit later, but yeah, keep that in mind. And now that I think about this even more and more, like I had some ideas on about what type of cooler that I'm going to use, so I can be able to use the actual glass panel. They have some Noctua coolers that are low profile, but that will still be able to cool your CPU like you're supposed to. So we're going to take a look at that and see what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. So this is definitely dope. So I got to put this in a safe place, you know, until it's time to be able to do the build, which is going to go back in the box. It's definitely going to go back in the box. Let's see, down in the chat. Wait, did I hear you right? You're not AIO cooling your CPU in that? Not right offhand, unless, you know, unless I get a lot of people to say, hey, that's what I want to see. So if we get a lot of people to say, hey, that's what I want to see, then I'll go through the trouble of doing AIO cooling in this case, which, you know, I could do it, but just starting off, I may not. That may be a separate video. So I don't know. We'll see. All right. So being able to, again, this is the top. You actually got the 120 millimeter fans that come with it there for exhaust. So let's figure out. I heard that a lot of stuff on here is toolless, if I'm not mistaken. And so first things first is figuring out how to be able to take this apart, because I think a lot of this stuff just slides off, if I'm not mistaken. So like with the front panel, I think you could pull it from the bottom. Boom. So that comes off just like that. And then, which shows you all of the actual everything as far as the connectors and stuff that's for the front panel. So all that stuff is there. And I believe just about every part of this can pretty much pull apart, if I'm not mistaken. Even the top, I believe, pops off. Yeah, because there's no screw. and almost like don't want to mess anything up. But from what I've seen, all of these pieces just kind of pop off. Ah, there we go. So boom, look at that. And that's what that looks like where the fan stuff go. So everything just pretty much just kind of pops off. So that is pretty cool. I can't deny that. So even the sides, look at that. No tools needed. Man, let me tell you something. Just from a convenience standpoint, that's amazing. Yes, it is. So if we look on the inside, so definitely going to get to this box so we can see what's in it. But this is dope, man. Like, this is like super dope. So I'm already getting excited about the next build because all these panels could just pop off and you don't need to do anything else. And as you can see here, it actually has a filter, and there's a filter on the other one as well for dust filters. So they just pop off. So looking now, we on the inside, we're looking around. So this is so dope. So looking at this here, this is the power supply. So obviously with a small form factor build, you will need a small form factor power supply. I'm definitely I want to get at least 1,000-watt power supply, but I'll go for 850, since I'm going to be on the road to my GPU and all that stuff anyway. But I'm going to look for 1,000-watt power supply. But that's where the power supply goes. You see this bracket that's here. If we were doing the AIO, because this is the front side of the actual case where the tempered glass panel will go, but this bracket actually unscrews and it comes off. But this bracket is for the AIO, so you could be able to do a 280 millimeter AIO, or if you were doing an air cooler, you could actually attach 240 millimeter fans for intake. So you have a different options when you're using the actual the mesh side panel. So yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. Big Fish, hey, I've been watching, great content. I've been watching, and you have great content, my brother. I appreciate that, Big Fish. Which reminds me, make sure that you join the Discord. We've been having some good stuff, good talks and stuff. That's, with that. Another thing, I actually want to take this off. So let's do that. I'm going to take off this panel as soon as I can find my screwdriver. Where's my iFixit case? All right. I almost couldn't find my case, and we was about to have a problem. Number one pet peeve is when I can't find stuff. All right. So in the iFixit case, taking out this bracket, it's only 2 screws, and we should be good. All right. So let's take this bracket off. And they weren't screwed on too tight, so that's pretty cool. All right, so it's only 2 screws for the bracket, so I'm good with that. And now, if we take a look, so you could be able to see this. So now if you take a look, We have the front panel connectors. This is the reset and power. We have the HD audio, USB, and I'm gonna leave that connected again. Now, here's the actual, and I don't know if you can probably see it, but here's where the motherboard will go. ITX motherboard. It has the standoffs already in here. I already talked about the actual power supply cable that goes from here all the way over here, so you can be able to plug that into the power supply, which goes inside this cage here. And let's see what actually comes in the box. And I believe, well, just going to talk about it. So another thing here is that I don't need these. So another thing that I plan on doing is that at the bottom, as you can see here, this is the bottom. It also comes with a dust filter, but you could take the actual bottom off, and I believe the feet and everything come off of this. But you could take the this whole bottom part off, and you could be able to attach intake fans. I'm actually going to use some Noctua Slim, the real slim fans, to go at the bottom to cool off the GPU, because the first time I put the GPU in, as you can see here on the back, I'm going to do horizontal. So, and I thought about doing to use the actual vertical mounts here that's on the back. This is the vertical mount for the GPU, but it's going to be, again, this is going to be the front part. The only way I could be able to use the vertical mount GPU is if I use the actual mesh panel. And I don't want to use the mesh panel because, you know, you have to have airflow, you know, saying to be able to pull. So if I use the tempered glass, it's going to be like right up against the tempered glass, and that's not going to be good. So different things. I've been thinking about how I'm going to be doing this actual build, and that's one of the things that you definitely have to make sure that you pay attention to. And so I'm glad I'm going to have y'all on for the ride. All right, so let's sit this over here and let's see what comes on the inside of the box. So it talks about here, we have the Master Box NR200P accessories, and let's see what we get. Knife on deck. Oh, nice. All right. So here are the Sickle Flow Cooler Master fans. And man, these are pretty dope. So these are 120 millimeter fans. And they actually, the way that these work, these actually push into the actual top panel, and they lock in. So that's pretty dope. You know, you really don't need anything else to do that with. And we get two of these, and these go at the top of the case for exhaust. And so that's dope. You also get, yeah, we got a splitter, so that's cool. So you get a splitter for the actual fans as well. So if we take this top part out, should be some more stuff down here at the bottom. And there it is. All right, so we got the zip ties, we got the screws, we got the rubber grommets and standoffs and stuff like that. So that's here. And then you also have the riser cable. So this is a Gen 3 riser cable. And so this is definitely, you know, again, you would use this if you were doing the vertical mount of the GPU. So this is cool that this actually comes in the box. That is pretty dope that you actually get that to come in the box, because you have a lot of, again, you know, stuff like this where it's normally extra. This particular case, if you do not know, and let me show you here, you can actually pick this case up from Amazon. Obviously, if you have a micro center in your area, you can go inside micro center. But if you don't, there's a link in the description below. There's a link in the description below that allows you to be able to purchase this. And so you could definitely, it helps out the channel. And so definitely make sure that you hit the link in the description below to be able to grab this case. It's $129 for all that you get though. I think that, it's phenomenal. It's a little bit on the expensive side, when it comes down to, if you're looking for a budget case and budget friendly stuff like that. But really even the good compact cases and stuff is actually, it's about $100. And so $100, I mean, $129. So if you're doing small form factor, this is actually pretty good for everything that you get. So you can actually be able to tear down the actual case, and you could either do the mesh panel, or you could do a tempered glass panel. Whatever it is, that you want to do, you can be able to do it. It comes with 2 fans, 120 millimeter fans that you could be able to put at the top for exhaust. You have a Gen 3 riser cable. I wish this was Gen 4. They have a newer model of this case, which is called the NR200P Max, which is a tiny bit bigger, but it comes with, it actually comes with the AIO cooler and stuff like that, but it's like $500. And so don't know if that's worth it, but it's usually out of stock, and here it is right here. So, but yeah, I've seen it in stock for like $700 and some, which is ridiculous. So, don't know if it's worth it to be able to go that route, per se, but I would definitely make sure that if you want to be able to check this out, you could be able to do that. But yeah, this is what comes in the box, man. Minecraft, what's going on, man? But this is what comes in the box. And so definitely, let me know what y'all think. I actually need to put this back in the way that it came. But now that I've finally taken this out of the box, decided to unbox this on the channel live so you can be able to take a look at it and we could be able to talk about it. But I'm excited, man. Like, I'm really excited about doing this build now. And yeah, I plan on, so speaking about the build, I actually plan on going ahead. I made my mind up. I'm gonna go ahead and do Intel 12th Gen build. And I want to take my time. I think I'm going to meet myself in the middle and get a 12700K, just in case if I ever decided to do some video editing and stuff like that. And, and I want to keep the system for a while. At least I have an 8-core. Well, actually with the 12700K is more than 8 cores. So you got your efficiency cores and then you got your performance cores. I forgot, how many comes with it, but yeah, it's it definitely comes with more. So I definitely plan on doing that. Let me see what we got down in the chat. Had no idea that the NR200P Max existed. That might have convinced me over the actual Q58. Yeah, the NR2. The only thing that's holding me back on the actual NR200P Max is that price. Like $500. I don't know, but the features that you can actually see in the NR200P Max, you can actually be able to, if I go back here, see, you can actually be able, the cooler that comes with it is 280 millimeter, and you can actually fit it up at the top. See, like on this particular case, it doesn't have room at the top to fit the actual cooler. You have to do it at the bottom. So it's different stuff. I would definitely like to be able to see, hey, Cooler Master, if you're taking a look at this right now, if you want to partner up with me and send me an actual NR200P Max, I take it. I definitely take it. But yeah, but the Q58, I think I'm going to go pick that one up too, just to see the differences in between these two. But I like the way that you could be able to customize this. So, yeah, again, Let me know what you think down in the comments, down in the chat. If you would like to do a small form factor build, but you're just being hesitant about it, let me know. And I'm actually seeing now that I am going to place all this stuff back on. But it was actually really simple. Like this goes back, snaps back in on top. Everything kind of just clicks in place, which is pretty dope. This one of these panels, I don't know if they're the same or not, but it would be pretty cool if it didn't matter. And so, and I don't think it does unless I just remember how I did this initially. But everything just snaps back in. So yeah. And then boom, we just put the front back on. Everything snaps back in place. And I just put the case back together. Look at that. That's dope, right? You can't tell me that's not dope. That is like super dope. So yeah, that is super dope. Yeah, man, that joint just makes building simplified. Case is 150-ish. After tax, 850 watt. Yep, and then AIO, so you about another 100. So seems right. Yep. It definitely does. So yeah, so like I said, I just want to rock with y'all tonight. Again, we're gonna be doing these every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can be able to hang out with your boy. We talk about stuff, news for the week, all that good stuff. Even maybe do some, some gaming, some stuff like that if you want to do that. Yeah. Oh yeah. And it definitely, Nolan down in the chat, it definitely comes with a PCIe 4.0 Ryzen cable. So, yeah. And I don't know, I may get a 4th generation Ryzen cable. I may buy it separately. You just never know. Just so I don't have to deal with the issue of changing stuff in the motherboard and all this different stuff and still be able to get the performance and everything. So again, I'm excited about this one. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me tonight. This is pretty much gonna be the end of the live stream. And I'm working on actually another video for undervolting your CPU. So stay tuned for that. I got that video that's gonna be coming out really, really soon. Got some other stuff that I've been working on. So definitely, we could be able to continue the actual conversation in the Discord. But yeah, let me know what you think about just doing these live streams every Thursday. Let me know just about hanging out with y'all. Again, if you want to support the channel, you can definitely be able to check this case out. Hit the links down in the description below. Gamer tag Big Fish is Wilcreatives. So I pretty much, I use that everywhere. So Wilcreatives. So man, I appreciate y'all again. Definitely, again, if you want to check out the channel, you want to check out the merch, help the channel out. Let's buy some more tech stuff so we could be able to do more unboxings, builds, and reviews. Hit me up. But I'll holler at y'all. Peace.